I want you to listen carefully to what I'm about to say, because this could be the turning point you've been waiting for. The key to your success doesn't lie in finding the right strategy, the right tools, or the right timing. It lies in getting rid of the things that are holding you back right now, today. First, stop doubting yourself. How many times have you held back because you didn't believe you were good enough? How many times have you stopped yourself before you even started because that inner voice told you you can't do it? It's too big for you. You don't have what it takes. If you're still listening to that voice, you're never going to get where you want to go. Success starts with belief. You have to believe in your ability even if no one else does. You have to trust yourself and your potential to figure it out. The most successful people aren't always the smartest or the most talented. They're the ones who believe they can succeed no matter the odds. So stop doubting yourself. The moment you start to believe in your potential, the world starts to change around you. Second, stop playing small. Too many people settle for less than they deserve because they're afraid to aim high. They take the safe route, the comfortable route, because they're afraid of what might happen if they go all in. Let me tell you something, success doesn't come to the ones who play it safe. It comes to those who push beyond their limits, those who take risks, those who reach higher than they ever thought possible. If you're not challenging yourself, you're not growing. If you're not playing for something bigger than your current reality, you're playing too small. It's time to step up, to reach for the stars. Stop settling for mediocre goals and start aiming for greatness. You have within you untapped potential, and it's time to unleash it. The world is waiting for you to play a bigger game. And third, stop fearing failure. Failure isn't the end, it's a part of the process. Every single person who has ever achieved greatness has failed over and over again. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is that the successful ones keep going. They don't let failure define them. They don't let it stop them. They learn from it, adjust, and try again. Failure is not something to fear, it's something to embrace. It's the feedback you need to adjust your course and keep moving forward. Stop running from failure. When you stop fearing it, you stop holding yourself back. You start moving forward with confidence, knowing that each failure is just one step closer to your success. If you want to succeed, you need to stop doubting yourself, stop playing small, and stop fearing failure. These are the three things that are keeping you from the life you deserve, and the moment you release them is the moment everything changes. Take control of your mindset, push beyond your limits, and embrace failure as part of your journey. When you do that, success won't be a matter of if, it will be a matter of when. How often do you find yourself hesitating, second-guessing, or questioning your abilities? How many opportunities have you missed or dreams have you left unpursued simply because you doubted yourself? It's something that every single one of us has experienced at some point, but what you might not realize is how powerful self-doubt can be in holding you back from reaching your true potential. When you doubt yourself, you're not just questioning your abilities or worth, you're limiting your future, your progress, and your success. Self-doubt is the invisible barrier between where you are now and where you could be. The moment you begin to doubt yourself, you start to close off the doors to possibilities. Think about it. When you doubt your abilities, you hesitate to take action. You second-guess your choices. You avoid taking risks, and you settle for what's safe and comfortable, instead of pushing yourself to take that next step toward growth and greatness. But this cycle of doubt only keeps you stuck in the same place, running in circles while the world continues to move forward. You end up watching others reach the success you dream of, while you're held back by your own uncertainty. Why do we doubt ourselves in the first place? Often it stems from fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of not being good enough. The truth is, fear is a natural part of life. Every time we step outside our comfort zone, fear can make its presence known. But the key is not allowing fear to control us. We need to recognize that fear is simply a feeling, not a fact. Fear doesn't define who we are or what we can accomplish. It's just a signal that we're moving into new territory, and that's exactly where growth happens. Yet many of us listen to that fear, and instead of pushing through it, we shrink back. Another major cause of self-doubt is comparison. In today's world, it's all too easy to look at other people's lives, especially on social media, and feel inadequate. We see others achieving things we want for ourselves, and we begin to wonder, why not me? This line of thinking creates a sense of competition rather than collaboration. It makes us believe that there's a finite amount of success available, and if someone else is winning, that means we're losing. The truth is, someone else's success does not diminish your potential. There is enough success, opportunity, and abundance for everyone. But when you compare your progress to others, you're robbing yourself of the confidence you need to take the next step in your own journey. The most important thing you can do to overcome self-doubt is to change the story you're telling yourself. You see, when you doubt yourself, You've allowed your mind to create a narrative based on fear and negativity. The narrative you create is often filled with what ifs. What if I fail? What if they laugh at me? What if I'm not good enough? These what ifs paralyze you, making it difficult to take action. But here's the truth: the stories you tell yourself are not based on facts. They are based on assumptions, beliefs, and experiences, many of which are outdated or inaccurate. What if, instead of focusing on all the things that could go wrong, you shift your thinking to what could go right? What if you replace those doubts with thoughts like, what if this opportunity leads to something amazing? What if I'm capable of more than I think? What if you started to look at your challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth? When you change the narrative in your head, you change the way you see yourself and the world around you. This shift in mindset will empower you to take action, to move forward despite the fear, and to trust that you can handle whatever comes your way. Another powerful way to overcome self-doubt is by focusing on your strengths. It's easy to get caught up in what you perceive as your weaknesses. We all have areas where we can improve, but instead of letting those areas define us, we should focus on what makes us unique, strong, and capable. Take the time to reflect on your past successes, the challenges you've overcome, and the skills and talents you've developed. When you focus on your strengths, you begin to see yourself as someone who is capable of achieving greatness. This boosts your self-esteem, enhances your confidence, and gives you the courage to take action. Another key to silencing self-doubt is surrounding yourself with people who believe in you. The people you spend time with play a massive role in shaping how you see yourself. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity or people who don't believe in your dreams, it becomes harder to believe in yourself. But when you surround yourself with people who encourage you, support you, and believe in your potential, it becomes much easier to overcome those doubts. These people act as mirrors, reflecting your strengths back to you and reminding you of what you're capable of. You begin to internalize their belief in you, and that belief becomes your own. Remember that self-doubt doesn't just disappear overnight. It's something you need to continually work on. Every time you take a step outside of your comfort zone, every time you face a new challenge, you will likely encounter self-doubt again. The key is to recognize it, acknowledge it, and then take action anyway. Confidence is not the absence of doubt, it's the ability to keep moving forward in spite of it. When you play small, you limit your own potential. You hold yourself back from the greatness you're capable of, settling for mediocrity because you're afraid to push beyond your comfort zone. Playing small often stems from a deep-seated fear, whether it's fear of failure, fear of judgment, or fear of the unknown. But here's the truth: by staying small, you're denying yourself the opportunity to experience the incredible growth, success, and fulfillment that comes when you take bold action and step into your true power. Every time you decide to play small, you shrink the opportunities that are available to you. You decide to stay in your current job because it's safe, even though your heart is yearning for something more. You settle for a relationship that doesn't bring you joy because it's easier than breaking free and finding what truly aligns with your values. You avoid taking risks because you fear the possibility of failing. But what happens when you settle for small? You remain stuck. You may feel comfortable in the short term, but deep down you know you're capable of more. You know you have untapped potential inside of you that is begging to be unleashed. The question is, will you continue playing small, or will you rise to the challenge and go after the life you're truly capable of creating? Stop waiting for the perfect moment or for someone else to give you permission. Playing small often comes from waiting for external validation, thinking you need someone to tell you you're ready or that you deserve success. You wait for the stars to align, for everything to be just right before you make a move. But the truth is, the perfect moment rarely comes. The only moment that matters is right now. You have everything you need within you right at this very moment to take that first step towards something bigger. Stop waiting for permission. You don't need anyone's approval but your own. When you stop waiting for external signals to act, you take control of your own future. Another reason people play small is the fear of judgment. We're social creatures and we care deeply about how we're perceived by others. When we go after something big, something different, or something that's outside of the norm, there's always the fear of what others might think. We fear that we'll be judged, criticized, or rejected. But what you need to understand is that judgment is inevitable. People will always have opinions about what you do, but it's their opinions, not your truth. If you keep playing small to please others, you will always be living in someone else's shadow, never fully embracing your potential. When you choose to live for yourself, free from the need for validation, you stop worrying about judgment and start focusing on what truly matters: your growth, your dreams, and your purpose. When you play small, you're also robbing yourself of the opportunity to grow. Comfort and growth cannot coexist. You cannot expand your limits by staying within your comfort zone. It's only when you step outside of it that you begin to learn, evolve, and experience life in new and exciting ways. Every time you choose the path of least resistance, you delay your own progress. Whether it's taking on a new challenge, starting a business, pursuing a dream job, or even speaking your truth, growth comes from embracing discomfort. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's scary. But it's also where the magic happens. The greatest achievements, the most fulfilling moments, and most transformative experiences are on the other side of fear. Playing small keeps you stuck in the same patterns, but stepping up and taking bold action will propel you forward. If you want to stop playing small, you must elevate your standards. People often settle for less than they deserve because they've never truly raised their expectations for themselves. You've been conditioned to accept good enough, but greatness is never achieved by settling for good enough. It's achieved by holding yourself to a higher standard and refusing to accept mediocrity. When you elevate your standards, you force yourself to show up in a way that aligns with your true potential. You no longer accept average relationships, average results, or average efforts. You demand more from yourself because you know you're capable of more. When you raise the bar, you elevate the quality of your life, your work, and your relationships. Another reason we play small is the fear of success. While fear of failure is a well-known obstacle, fear of success is just as powerful. When you start to make progress, achieve milestones, and get closer to your dreams, it can feel overwhelming. Success brings change, responsibility, and higher expectations. It can stir up feelings of unworthiness or fear that you won't be able to maintain your success. But here's the thing, you are worthy of success. You deserve to have the life you've always dreamed of, and the world needs what you have to offer. Success doesn't take away from you, it adds to you. It enhances your life and the lives of others. Don't let the fear of success hold you back from stepping into your greatness. You have everything within you to stop playing small. You have the vision, the potential, and the power to create the life you want, but it all begins with making the decision to stop holding yourself back. The key is to embrace discomfort, elevate your standards, and take bold action, no matter how small the steps may seem. Every time you choose to rise above fear, doubt, and judgment, you are expanding your potential. You are breaking free from the limitations you've placed on yourself and opening up new possibilities for success. The world is waiting for you to step into your full power, so why not make today the day you start playing big? Failure. Just hearing the word can send a wave of discomfort through most of us. We've been conditioned to believe that failure is something to avoid, something that defines us as inadequate or unworthy. But here's the truth, failure is not the enemy. Fear of failure, however, is the thing that will hold you back from achieving everything you are capable of. The fear of failure keeps you playing small, keeps you stuck in your comfort zone, and prevents you from taking the risks that are necessary for growth. The moment you stop fearing failure is the moment you unlock your true potential. Let's get this clear. Everyone who has ever achieved anything significant has failed repeatedly. Success doesn't come without failure. In fact, failure is often the greatest teacher. It's through failure that we learn, adapt, and grow. Failure doesn't mean you're incapable or that you're not good enough. It simply means you've learned what doesn't work, and now you're one step closer to finding what does. The fear of failure makes us see failure as a final, irreversible step, when in reality it's just part of the process. Every failure is a lesson, and every lesson takes you closer to success. The fear of failure often arises because we make it personal. We attach our identity to our successes and failures. We see a failure as a reflection of our self-worth. When we fail, we feel like we failed as a person, not just in a particular task or goal. This is why failure can be so crippling. But what if we started to view failure not as a reflection of who we are, but as a natural and necessary part of achieving greatness? When you detach your self-worth from your achievements, you begin to see failure differently. You start to understand that failure is simply an event, it's not who you are. Another reason we fear failure is the fear of judgment. We live in a society that often equates success with worthiness and failure with weakness. We fear that others will see our failures and judge us for them. This fear of judgment keeps us from taking risks and trying new things. We're afraid that people will see us as less capable, less intelligent, or less worthy of success. But the truth is, the people who are truly successful are the ones who are willing to fail in public, to take risks without worrying about the opinions of others. They know that their failures don't define them, they only define their journey. The only real failure is the failure to try. Fear of failure can cause us to procrastinate and delay action. When we are so focused on avoiding failure, we become paralyzed by the thought of it. We avoid taking the first step because we're afraid of not succeeding right away. This fear of failure keeps us stuck in a state of indecision, never making progress. We start to overthink, overanalyze, and overplan, hoping that we can find the perfect moment to act. But the perfect moment never comes. The truth is, waiting for everything to be perfect is the fastest way to ensure you never take action. The key to success is not to avoid failure, but to take action in spite of it. You will never know what works unless you try, and you will never learn unless you fail. Another important aspect of fearing failure is that it often keeps us from pursuing our dreams. We are so focused on the what ifs, what if I fail? What if people laugh at me? What if I'm not good enough? That we don't even try to go after what we truly want. We play small, settling for mediocrity because we are afraid of the unknown. But the unknown is where the magic happens. It's where the possibilities are endless, where the greatest rewards are hidden, and where we find the potential for real growth. Success isn't about avoiding failure, it's about moving forward in spite of it, with the courage to face the unknown and trust the process. The fear of failure also leads to a focus on perfectionism. Perfectionism is a form of self-sabotage. We set unrealistic standards for ourselves and believe that anything less than perfection is unacceptable. But perfection doesn't exist, it's a myth. No one has ever achieved perfection, and yet we keep striving for it, thinking that it's the only way to succeed. Perfectionism paralyzes us because it's impossible to meet an unattainable standard. Instead of aiming for perfection, we should aim for progress. We should embrace the idea that failure is part of the learning process. The more we fail, the more we grow, and the closer we get to success. One of the most powerful ways to stop fearing failure is to reframe how we view risk. The fear of failure often comes from the fear of taking risks. We think that if we take a risk and fail, we've lost something important. But risk is actually the gateway to reward. Without risk, there is no opportunity for growth. Think about any successful person you admire. They all took risks, they all faced challenges, and they all experienced failure. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is that successful people take risks and keep going. Even after they fail, they don't let fear stop them, they embrace it as part of the journey. Remember that you don't have to face failure alone. You don't have to go through the journey in isolation. Surround yourself with people who support you, who encourage you, and who have faced their own failures. These people will help remind you that failure is just a part of the path to success, and they will encourage you to keep going when things get tough. Failure can feel lonely, but it's also universal. Every person who has ever achieved anything meaningful has faced failure. The key is to not let it stop you. The moment you stop fearing failure is the moment you step into your power. It's the moment you take control of your journey and realize that you are not defined by your mistakes or setbacks. You are defined by how you rise, how you learn, and how you continue to move forward no matter the challenges. Failure is not something to fear, it's something to embrace. When you do, the world opens up in ways you never imagined. The truth is, failure is not your enemy, it's your greatest ally. It is through failure that you discover your strength, your resilience, and your true potential. When you stop fearing failure, you stop holding yourself back from the life you were meant to lead. Every failure is a step towards success. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. The only real failure is never trying at all. So embrace failure, learn from it, and use it as fuel to propel you forward. So your greatest success is waiting on the other side of your fear. Step into it with courage and watch your dreams unfold.